Hi guys, Freddy here. Welcome back to a modern RPG. Now in the past I've made it very clear that I love myself some Twilight 2000. I love all the Games Designers Workshop games, but Twilight 2000's my absolute favourite. Because I love the post-apocalyptic setting. I love Fallout on the computer and games of that genre. But post-apocalyptic fiction is what I grew up with. I'm of that age where we thought the apocalypse was coming, and this seemed realistic to us. So Twilight 2000 is almost tailor-made for me to absolutely love. Now one of the players in my group that I game with at the weekends knows this, and he's actually put down money for the Kickstarter for Twilight 2000, and his book's due to be delivered any day now. It's in September, so this month. So in preparation for him games mastering, he's shared the books with me. The beta version of the rules that they sent him through. So I'm afraid I can't help myself. I'm going to have a wee look through them. This wasn't my copies, they are a friend's copies, so I recommend that you go out, you buy the game when it's released, or put down money towards Kickstarter and get yourself copies sent out when they're released this month. It looks really good, but let's go over and have a look. So this is Twilight 2000, the 2021 edition. And I've opened it in a different format to I usually do. I usually open up in a single page format and we go through each page individually when I'm doing PDFs. But in this case I've opened it up in the double page format because inside there are some gorgeous pieces of artwork. And I thought they deserved to be seen in the double page layout that they're being designed as. But unfortunately one of the pieces of artwork is this cover image, and it's not great. Now perhaps this is just for the beta, perhaps this is just a temporary image, and even if it's not that important because Twilight 2000 is once again being designed as a boxed game. So we'll have some box art and then we'll just have the player's manual and the referee's manual inside. So this image isn't that important, but it's a bit sketchy, it's not my favourite, especially when we've got the joys which lay inside. Now we've got turn over the page and we've got the contents here, and each of these header images is a thumbnail of the full double page image which comes later. And I really do like that. It's modern design in a way that Cyberpunk Red was, almost like it's hyperlinked but not being. I don't think it suits Twilight 2000 as much, but I do appreciate it, and it does match my sensibilities that I know when I go to chapter 1, that's going to be what I see. So it's adding a recognition in my head and making the book easier to search by just having cool pictures. And then we go on, and we've got a very nice image. A couple of player characters, one a civilian, one a soldier, looking out of the warfield. Really, really nice artwork. I do appreciate that. And we've got chapter 1, You're on Your Own Now, which talks over the scenario of Twilight 2000. How the war of the year 2000 has gone hot, nuclear war, and the players are now soldiers left in Europe after the fall of civilization, basically. And it goes through and it suggests what do you want to do? Whether you're fighting to stay alive, whether you're helping those on need, whether you're finding out what's going on, whether you're trying to set up a safe haven, whether you're staking a claim, so becoming warlords, because you are probably better equipped than most of the people around. You're military servicemen, you've got a tank or a military vehicle, you've got machine guns, perhaps grenades and missile launchers and things. You're going to be amongst the most powerful people around. There's obviously similar groups, but you're really going to be able to set yourselves up as warlords if you want. And it suggests whether you're going to find a way home. So perhaps you're just going to try and journey to the European coast, find a boat and head back to America, because in all likelihood you're going to be American characters. So the game setting, it talks about Poland, Sweden, the European campaign where the military were fighting. It also mentions other things, so whether you want to play as civilians, whether you're law enforcement, so the police of a town where the war happened and it's now up to you to protect the town, whether you're prisoners, so you're a criminal and now you're out, but because you're a criminal you're one of the more violent and capable people out there, or mixed groups. And it talks about the standard things of role-playing, so character sheets, dice, cards, maps and counters. What is a role-playing game? And then we're on to player characters. Now, it still allows you to have the career path system, which we'll come on to in a second. As we flick through here, we've got information about military rank, your skills, your specialties, hits and stress capacity, moral code, your buddies, appearance, name, etc. Goes through the standard stuff, and then we're on to templates, which is a brilliant addition to Twilight 2000. I am very, very impressed with these. Twilight 2000, the career system, is an absolute joy, or always has been. The GDW systems, where you take your character through their life and they get promoted, or they go on special ops missions, or they get wounded and mustered out of the military, and your character comes up with a history as you create it. But that takes time. I remember spending multiple sessions with a group of players when we were about to play Travel of the New Era, and everybody had to go through their career paths and create their characters. Only one or two people could do it at a time because there was only one rulebook. It really slowed things down. So instead of having a session 0, we had multiple session zeros as everybody created their characters. We were still a group of friends and we were still having fun, but it really held things up. The ability to sit down and just go, yep, I want to be a grunt, I want to be a civilian, a gunner, a kid, a mechanic, medic, officer, operator, or a spook, so CIA type character. All brilliant. You can just pick something and play. If somebody turns up to the game, you don't have to hold things up for hours while they generate their character through the entire life path career system. But you still have life paths. So we go through your childhood. You know, were you a street kid? Did you come from a small town, working class, an intellectual, a military family? Was your family rich? Then you got your military careers. What you went through that as. Different countries, so you could be Swedish Army, Polish Army, Soviet Union. Then you've got your careers outside the military. Were you a policeman? Were you intelligence, a criminal, blue collar? Were you educated, white collar? And then when the war broke out, what happened? Were you in the military? Were you still a blue collar, white worker or other? You know, you could have ended up as a scrounger as the war collapsed society. Absolutely brilliant stuff, and still very, very detailed, and still gorgeous. I really do like that as a way of generating character. Then we're on to skills and specialties. So, how your skills work. I won't go through everything, but we've got long lists of skills and specialities. You know, under your survival specialists, you could be a cook, a farmer, a fisher, a forager, a navigator, a hunter, a quartermaster, or a scrounger. You've got tech specialties, persuasion specialties. And then we're straight on to combat and damage. So all those specialties can flesh out your characters in numerous ways. Combat and damage is standard, whether you can use battle maps, rounds and initiative, slow and fast actions. Just going to skip through this. It's not the same as the old GDW rules, but I haven't had a chance to play them yet, so I'm not sure how they're going to work. It does seem from initial reading like it's a pretty good rule system, though. It seems quite flexible. Critical injuries. What happens if you get injured in the head? You've got different effects. So you've got an ear slashed, your recon's -1, you've got concussion, right up to your brain's blown out. Your torso levels of critical hits. You've got a ruptured kidney, a punctured lung, or your heart was impaled and you instantly died. Legs, up to getting a severed leg or a severed arm on your arms. And you've got mental effects as well, where you're suffering from a psychosis or you're going completely catatonic. Really nice. I've always been a fan of critical hit systems, and it's pretty decent. It's not as detailed as some. You're going to find yourselves repeating the effects quite a lot, but it's leaving up to the games master. Sort of vehicles here, weapons, vehicles and gear, another lovely page. The artwork reminds me somewhat of Fallout, I think. I can't think why though. Trading is a big part because obviously it's post-apocalyptic, so perhaps if equipment's going to be hard to come by. And then we're on to the weapons. So what happens if you're using a bottle or a knife or an axe? What else we got? Service revolvers, police pistols, combat pistols. It's got enough variety in there to be interesting without being complete overload, like I think Twilight 2000 tended to in the past. I disliked it having so many weapons, but there's a good variety here. So you've got your US troopers will have a variety of weapons, and then you've got all the different weapons for different nationalities. So we've got Soviet military weapons, and it is laid out like I suggested in a previous book and got a lot of criticism from Twilight 2000 fans for the various military forces. I like it. We're up to missile launchers and heavy machine guns there. We've got Swedish military weapons, sniper rifles, lots and lots of pages of guns for all the different nationalities, artillery. Then we're on to vehicles. So we've got standard Humvees, armoured personnel carriers, light tanks, heavy tanks, Soviet vehicles, all based around what was available at the turn of the century. Body armour, protective gear. Sorry, what's that? Home base. Again, it details a lot more than the original game on how your players will set up a base. And it's an important part for a Twilight 2000 Games Master to be able to come up with what resources they'll have available and different facilities and equipment they'll get access to. So, very nice section. Got travel. Of course, if in Twilight 2000 you're doing the campaign where you're travelling back to America and you're heading towards the European coast, going to be absolutely important. You know, what speed can you make in darkness? When is darkness at different times of year up here with Nordic light? Got marching, driving, different terrains and mishaps, scrounging as you travel, different things you can randomly find. Hunting, fishing, different ways of getting food, travelling through cities, travelling by water. And then we're getting to the back with the index, and that's us reach the end of the book. Now if you'll wait a moment, I will flick over to the referee's book. And I'm back with the referee's book. Now again, I'm not a massive fan of this cover, but I like it a bit more than I like the player's handbook one, or player's manual. Again, we've got the images from the headers of each section, nicely laid out and presented. The world at war. So we go through the detail of the timeline, the things that the Games Master must know about how things happen which the players might not be aware of, the politics behind it somewhat. Because they were the grunts on the ground, they didn't know everything that was going on. We go through the situation in Poland. Massively important for players in Twilight 2000, which many GMs won't know, because Poland's not something that most of us know a lot about. We are roughly aware of it, but we're going to have a lot more information in here. Very, very good. Order of battle, so how the wars went down. Southern Poland, Northern Poland, Eastland. Then we're on to Sweden, and it covers details of that. Then we've got the other countries within Europe. Germany, France, the United Kingdom, America, the rest of the world. Then we're on to the Your Job as a Referee section. Nice picture of a frozen wasteland with a crashed plane in a river. Principles of the game. Nowhere is safe. Resources are scarce. Players lead the way. Rumours abound. Everything is personal. The end is never set. Death is part of life, and hope never dies. Really good grounds for a Twilight 2000 Games Master. Starting the game. So whether you want to start in battle or not, when they're moving out from the end of the world, basically. Or the end of the world as it was. Non-player characters, how to handle them in combat, how to judge the opposition so you don't overwhelm the players. We're on to encounters and how they work. Again, sorry, flicking back, a lovely piece, maybe reminiscent of Crisis 2 to me, with the ripped up pieces of road, a tank, or Soviet tank, I think, yeah, from the flag, amongst the ruins of a wrecked city. Really nice. So what we've got here, consequences, stationary encounters. We're going through all the different lists of encounters, just random things which can happen, or suggestions to Game Master, so they can keep it flowing. Because being player-led as much as Twilight 2000 is, the Games Master has to be very much prepared to change things. There's going to be less of writing a massive adventure and detailing out what every room is as the players explore a dungeon in Dungeons and Dragons, and more of, so what you're doing, oh, we're going to go and explore this town and try and find stuff. Oh, okay, so you travel to the town and there's random encounters, and then you're searching the town and there's other things which happen. The Games Master has to be far more resourceful in creating things on the fly, and this really helps, especially being playing card based. You know, you use a pack of cards to select what happens. You can build up scenarios. So if you draw a 2 of diamonds, there's dense fog. A 5 of diamonds, final rest. Approach a crater from a nuclear strike. House on fire, desperate times, hunters and their prey. Loaded like a freight train. Just lots and lots of stuff to create events for your players and keep things random and interesting and flowing. And there are mood events, so radio chatter, rumours, mood elements on the road, mood elements in the woods, fields. And then we're on to factions and forces, so detailing about the Polish military, the Soviet, the Swedish, and general marauders and groups of civilians across Poland, so you're aware of groups that your players might encounter. KGB, the GRU, scenario sites, so we've got different places for your players to visit. So if you say, or they spot a prison on a map, we've got the prison here, and we can go over what it's like, different rooms, and a nice map of it. Very, very useful. I so adore games which do this. I always thought Sprawl Sites for Shadowrun was one of the most useful books a Games Master could have, because they go into a bar, they get into a barroom brawl, and you can go flick open the page, that's what the bar looks like. And it lets you set things up without just using your imagination all the time. It lets you put things in front of your players. Very useful. What else we got here? America Town. So a sort of standard town. The Children's Crusade, so a school and dormitories. The Burnt Town, so a burned out town with only a few buildings are left. Scenario Site Generator. And then we've got solo rules. I haven't looked through these. I don't know how good they are, but it's a real element, especially in these days of the pandemic and lockdown, when we're all alone, that solo rules are a really handy thing to have. We've got conversion rules to be able to convert things from 1st and 2nd editions of Twilight 2000 to 4th edition. Very handy. And then we've got the designer's notes at the back and an index. So that is Twilight 2000, the 2021 edition. I am massively impressed with it. I really think it's on the right track. It's everything I would look for from Twilight 2000. It details stuff for Games Masters in a very effective way, fleshing the world out and providing with lots and lots of material to use during play. It's one of the best rebooted versions of a role-playing game I've seen. It's so much better than Twilight 2013. I'm really excited for this one. I'm looking forward to my friend getting his copy out and having a leaf through the actual physical version, seeing what it's like, and then I think I'm going to try and get my hands on a copy, because I'm a big Twilight 2000 fan and this looks really good. But anyway, I think I've whittled on for quite long enough, so thank you very, very much for watching as always. Please like, subscribe and comment below, as it does me massive favours with the YouTube algorithm. But as always, most of all, you look after yourselves, and I'll catch you later. Bye now.